the most important thing we bring is this idea of collective power and protection, meaning how can we bring resources and quality strategies to strengthen the shared power of a community or a set of actors to defend themselves even as they advance and claim their rights. If you look at the problem of violence against defenders and attacks against defenders in terms of these three levels of power, your strategies and responses can be much more comprehensive and responsive to the context. Many responses to the problem of violence against human rights defenders look at the role of states and the role that governments have in enforcing human rights and protecting human rights defenders. Yet when you look across the world, often it is state actors, police, military, in cahoots with political elites that are attacking defenders in the first place. And so when you look at the problem of violence through the lens of power, you begin to look beyond state structures at what we call hidden or shadow power. And hidden power are those actors that operate under the table, that control the public agenda. And increasingly, in many contexts, they actually control policy, as in the case with energy companies or mining issues, or even when you think of the role of the church in shaping maternal child health or reproductive rights, or when you think of the role of churches and religious extremists in controlling the narrative and the policy agenda on LGBT rights. So understanding those hidden actors or shadow actors and how they use the state on the issues that we work on is important when you use the framework. So we look at power from visible power, which looks at the state, hidden and shadow power, and then the third overlapping dimension of power is what we call invisible power. And invisible power refers to the norms and beliefs that we all have inside ourselves, what we believe to be true, what we believe to be normal. And that, when you're working on women's rights and LGBT rights, is truly a battleground. We believe there's a battle over thinking of women as mothers and in traditional roles, that women should be in the private sphere or at home. A belief that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. These are the beliefs that we have inside us that are socialized, but are very much right now with social media and a sort of a lack of clarity about what are facts and what is true media, what is truth, with the rise of fake news and propaganda and misinformation. Once again, it's very easy to misrepresent, to criminalize, to delegitimize, and stigmatize defenders and our agendas. Increasingly, the many different organizations and thought leaders who are concerned about the shrinking civic space and concerned about violence and attacks against activists are looking at this question of narratives. And when people talk about narratives, what they're referring to is how power holders shape what people believe to be true, and how they shape how we perceive certain justice agendas, how we perceive human rights, and how we perceive activists. And That's extremely significant for women human rights defenders who, when declared a bad mother or when information comes out that they are having affairs or they're a whore or any sorts of ways to stigmatize them, can easily silence women because their own families and communities turn against them and question their activism or their leadership. So for us, working on how communities understand their own beliefs, developing critical awareness to be able to challenge misinformation, and developing our own capacity to use media strategically is key to navigating this current phase. So you're looking at how you respond to norms and beliefs in the way that they're manipulated. You look at the role of shadow or hidden actors in controlling the public or policy agenda, and you look at the role of states in colluding and using police and military to silence defenders and have a much more coherent response and strategy to the issues of violence.